Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders Picks here, and we are back with another day of sports betting. I do hope that you guys tailed me on some of my picks yesterday because I did end up going 4-1, and the only game that I ended up losing was the Bulls game. The Bulls actually won, so that's anytime I lose money because the Bulls win, I'll definitely take that up. It's definitely the best kind of money to lose. So today we have over the course of today we have an 8 game slate. A lot of the games are early, but at the same time, I I just like I feel like it's a good format for today. I feel like it's a really good format for today. A lot of basketball today, so it'll be fun to keep up with it. So we will start out with this early game here. We have New Orleans Pelicans taking on the New York Knicks. The New Orleans Pelicans are 2.5 point dogs. It looks like Alexander Walker's still out as of right now, and Jackson Hayes is probable. So they're almost back to full strength, but not quite yet. It looks like the line has moved quite a bit. It looks like New York is only 1 point favorites or even half-point favorites at this point. I got to be completely honest. I think I'm going to take the New York Knicks minus 2.5. The New York Knicks have been a very good basketball team as of late. Beat Dallas, beat on New Orleans by 10 last time, beat on the Lakers, beat Toronto, beat Memphis in overtime. They lost to 2 by Boston. So they're a very good basketball team. And on the flip side of that, New Orleans has been struggling lately. So they lost to Washington in overtime. They obviously lost to New York there. They ended up beating Sacramento, who's absolutely terrible, by only 7. They beat Cleveland, who's absolutely terrible, by 7. So I got to be completely honest. I truthfully just really like New York in this spot. I feel like it's kind of a match or a mismatch here. And since New York, I better check actually. Does New York have any injuries? So Alec Burks is going to be out, but I feel like that's really not going to be that big of a deal. I feel like it's still a good enough spot to bet the Knicks -1 or -0.5, or I may end up waiting to see if the line actually flips in New York or in New Orleans is favored. Might just take the money line, see if I can get plus odds on that. So I'm not sure, but I might. Next game is Indiana at Atlanta. I really, really like this game a lot. I don't know why Indiana is always underdogs. I don't get it. They're still a very good basketball team, and any team that is not a very good team, they end up winning. I mean, take a look. Obviously, Utah is a very good basketball team, so they ended up losing that game by 8. Houston was not a good team. They won. Clippers, they're a good basketball team. They lost by 11. Memphis isn't very good. Well, I guess this year Memphis is kind of good, but they still ended up winning regardless. Ended up beating Orlando here. They're just a very solid basketball team. Other than this loss to Chicago, they're a very solid team. So, I really like Indiana plus 4.5 here. It looks like the line's gone down a little bit to about +3. I'll probably honestly just take money line as long as it's positive odds, which it definitely should be. So I really like Indiana here. I think that they're in a good spot. So next game is Brooklyn versus Miami. Who's playing for Brooklyn? So James Harden's the only star that's really out. Chris Chiozza is questionable, but I feel like that won't really do too much. They still have Kevin Durant. They have Jeff Green, DeAndre Jordan, Kyrie Irving, Joe Harris, Bruce Brown, and Blake Griffin, TLC. So they still got a solid enough squad. Personally, so they're only 3.5 point favorites. I want to take a look and see how many minutes Kevin Durant played last game, see if he's still on that minutes restriction or if he is good to go. Let's see. So this last game here, Kevin Durant played 30 minutes. So it looks like he's almost back to his full run. So I got to be completely honest. 3.5 is just not enough. I mean, Miami is a very grit and grind team, but the thing is they don't have any electric scorers other than probably like Tyler Hero, maybe Kendrick Nunn. I wouldn't call Jimmy like an electric scorer. He definitely can get his points, but he's not really like a spark plug or like a energy type of he's an energy type of guy on the defensive end. but on offense, he's not really like that. So I think I like Brooklyn minus the 3.5. I feel like that's a pretty good bet today. Yeah, I think that they should win and cover. Next game is Portland versus Charlotte. It looks like the spread has gone down to about 4 or 4.5. I want to take a look at injuries before I say anything else. So Damian Lillard is for sure out. Wow. Okay. So in Charlotte, do they have any injuries right now? I mean, obviously LaMelo Ball's out. PJ Washington's questionable. Devontae Graham's questionable. Yeah. So they are missing like a decent amount of scoring, but since these guys are questionable, I gotta be honest, I think I'm gonna bet this game right off rip at that 5.5. Portland's not gonna be able to dominate anyone without Damian Lillard. So right here, obviously San Antonio, they did end up losing by literally one. So, and I can't remember, did they have Dame in this game? I think they did. But let me just double check. Yeah, so they did have Dame in that game, but in this last game against the Spurs, they did not have Damian Lillard, and you could tell, like, it definitely hurt them a lot. So I'm going to bet this game early at that +4, +4.5, whatever I can get it at. Just because if PJ Washington and Devontae Graham are in, that's just a plus side for me. I think that they should cover that spread regardless. Next game is OKC in Toronto. Wait, OKC in Toronto. The spread is 10.5. Let me take a look at the total on that game. 218.5, which is a very low total. So 218.5 is the total. And you think that Toronto is going to win by double digits? I'm not so sure about that one. Van Fleet's questionable. Gary Trent Jr. is questionable, so I guess wait for that news. But that's way too big of a spread, I think. As long as those two are out, I'm definitely taking OKC at +10.5. Like, OKC's not a very good basketball team at all, but neither is Toronto. Toronto is not a good team either. They obviously have Poca out. They have Gabriel Deck out. They have Hall out. So clearly Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's still out. But they still have, I mean, a pretty good core. Theo Maledon, who's pretty good. Lou Dort, Darius Baisley, Isaiah Roby, Moses Brown. So ever since I put Isaiah Roby back in the lineup, they actually have been, I'd say, a little bit better. Because I think it was just this last game that he was in. So, still a pretty solid team. I mean, not an NBA solid team, but still an okay team overall. Against a Toronto team that hasn't really been the best. For whatever reason, like Lowry is just not playing anymore, or at least last game. Siakam isn't really playing either. So I'll take a look one more time, but yeah, so literally they're just not playing. I don't know what the deal is, but they're just not playing the games. And without those two scorers and maybe Van Fleet, maybe Siakam, maybe Lowry, there's just no shot that they're covering that 11.5 or 10.5, whatever it is. Next is Houston or Orlando. This is really a coin flip of a basketball game. It looks like now Orlando is actually 1-point favorites, so the line has flipped. I got to be honest, this is going to be a crapshoot of a game. I'm staying away from it. This is just so ugly. I will take a look at injury news just to see if anyone's out. John Wall's out. Augustine's questionable. Dante Exum's out. Daniel House is out. David Nwaba and Eric Gordon. So you're looking at probably, I don't even know who their starting point guard would be. Maybe Kevin Porter Jr. or Jayshawn Tate as your starting point guard. And then with Kenyon Martin Jr. at the 2, Jayshawn Tate, Kelly O, and Christian Wood. Such a crapshoot of a game. In Orlando, you're probably looking at, okay, so Michael Carter-Williams is out, Otto Porter's out, Mo Bamba's questionable, Markel's out, Jonathan Isaac's still out. So you're looking at probably this exact lineup. Gary Harris, Cole Anthony, Chumo, Kiki, James Ennis, and Wendell Carter Jr. So I don't know. Maybe I would take a shot in the dark and go Orlando to cover, just because Houston might have the worst team somehow. But I really don't know. Sacramento and Dallas, I absolutely hate betting on Sacramento because they are just such a streaky team. I want to take a look at injuries first. Rashawn Holmes is questionable. Bagley's still out, so keep an eye on Rashawn Holmes, of course. The only person that's out for him is Tyrell Terry, which I don't think will make that big of a difference, but we have, So I feel like 8.5 is a pretty big number, and I don't know if that would be something that they would cover or not. I don't know. I think that's an interesting one. The next game, so if I had to pick a side, though, if I was forced on my will to pick a side, I think let me take a look just at the recent trends. So the last time they played was 3 days ago. They played against Phoenix, and they ended up covering that 12.5-point spread. They then got smoked by Washington, got smoked by New Orleans. You know what? What's their record? 22-34. They're coming back today. They're gonna keep this game close. Dallas really doesn't play a lick of defense at all. So yeah, definitely I'm 100% confident the Sacramento Kings are going to try to keep it close today. If I'm wrong about this, so be it, but I truthfully like it. And that plus 8.5, that's a pretty big margin, so I like it a lot. Next game is Minnesota at Clippers. Clippers are 10-point favorites right now, 10.5 in some sports books. Do the Clippers still have Paul George or Kawhi Leonard out? He's questionable, so they probably know something that we don't. He's probably supposed to be playing today. I'm staying away from that game. Don't really need to say too much about it. So let's go ahead and hop into my recap. So the first game that I really like is New York +1 or whatever you can get it at. I do like New York. I think that they should win and cover in that game, especially in an early game. A lot of times the dogs end up winning. I really like that one a lot. This is probably my favorite play of the day. Indiana versus Atlanta. I like Indiana plus that spread. I will probably even take money line to get good odds. Look to double my money, and then some. I really like Indiana there. The next game that I really like is actually Brooklyn -3. I just feel like that's way too close. Don't really like that too much. Let's see. I like Charlotte as well, +4 or +4.5, whatever you can get it at. And I always bet odd numbers, so I think I'm going to take Sacramento plus the 8.5 or whatever I can get it at. This game I'm probably going to wait just a little bit because apparently everyone is on Dallas, so I think I'm going to take a shot in the dark and hope that this line gets moved up to 9, 9.5, or even 10. So yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for me, you guys. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. I have been on an extreme burner lately, so hopefully you guys have been tailing me. If you guys are new and you guys do decide to tail me on any of them, down below, let me know which ones you guys tailed me on. But yeah, for now, this is King Sanders signing out. Catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.